Hi, hello. Welcome to an episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is April the 20th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good on this Easter Sunday. Happy 420 to all those who celebrate. If you know, you know. But no, today has been good. Last night was great. But we'll start on Sunday on the day. We woke up a little later than I'd like, around 10ish, so we're a little bit farther behind. But overall, not too bad timing wise. Went to the grocery store real quick. I will say it was a bit of a bummer. I'd gotten to the grocery store and all of the chicken thighs were gone. They were just completely sold out. So I had to just settle for like another piece of chicken. That's fine. We'll see how that goes. Come the future, but that's some days out because I still have some chicken thighs remaining. But oh well. Overall grocery store run went well. Then, dropped everything off, went to the gym. Gym went well, still more of a maintenance kind of day, still in that kind of phase with my ankle. Still didn't want to try to push it too hard. I like walking, so, that's good. Overall, though, felt good, felt solid. And that takes us to where we are now. We're podcasting right now. Yeah. But yeah, last night was good. It was, back to the groove. It was nice. Went back to Northside, got to see my friends, got to, hear how their Japan trip went. So that was fun. That was cool. They did give me a couple of little gifts, which were very cute. I got got this white hat, and it looks like an In-N-Out hat, like at first blush, and it essentially is. But I think what they said was it was like they kind of like had these damage defects to them, so like the wording was wrong or whatever. So this was in danger or something is what it said, like the hat. And then they had put on the hat a pin of like this like anime girl eating like chicken skewers, and I was like, this is a weird one. But they had told me, they're like, hey, we're gonna get you something weird. But they're like, what do you really want? Like, because they just wanted to get me like a little souvenir they thought I would like. And I was like, hey, I'm easy to please, just give me a little keychain, little like tchotchke, I'm happy. So what they got me was a Shin-chan tchotchke, and it's adorable. So I'm gonna have that on my keychain till it breaks. I'm very happy. I was satisfied with that. So yeah, that was how we started, the day, just kind of, doing the little debrief there. Then we went to Chameleon and we got some pizza. I will say I got the 3 slices I usually get, the Bianca, the veggie, and the pepperoni. The veggie was interesting. It was like a ratatouille greens pizza. It was good. It was solid. The other one, the Bianca, it was I can't remember. I've been trying for like the past, few hours to try to recall what it was, but I had too much of a good time. But essentially I know it had some kind of peppers, some kind of this white sauce on it as well. But overall it was pretty good. Like I definitely enjoyed that, and the pepperoni was classic. Also, I got to partake in some fries, throughout the night. So that was also cool. That was solid. And then at the end of the night, the homie made some ramen with like some extra veggies and stuff like that. So that was good. That was yummy. But instead of doing as much going out as we normally do, like hopping around a couple of bars and stuff like that, we instead wound up watching WrestleMania. And this is my first time watching WrestleMania. So I got to like cross off part of my kid dream. So that was pretty cool. Gotta say, it was fun to kind of sit around with homies, because back in the day as a kid, I watched wrestling TV, like Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, whatever. I watched that like alone or with my family, right? With like my mom and dad. And, I'd be hooting and hollering, booing to the wrestlers I didn't like. But it was like very much a solo experience until maybe I got to school and I got to talk about it with my friends. So, fast forward to now, like I'm now just hanging out with my friends, drinking beers, and doing all kinds of stuff, and we're just we're breaking down kayfabe, we're talking about like storylines and shit like that. It was cool. It was cool. It's cool in a surreal way. I loved it. It was fun. Um, the only bummer for me was that this is like I didn't know that WrestleMania was a 2 day event. I was like, damn, that's crazy. This is like some Bonnaroo shit. But the night one or the day one was really cool. It was fun to take that in. I'm definitely gonna hopefully maybe get the debrief on what happened on tonight. I'm very curious, what's going to happen, who's going to win, what. So, it was definitely a vibe, definitely had a good time. I'm engaged. I think what SummerSlam is going to be like the next thing. So hopefully the homies do another get together for that. I would love that for sure. But yeah, that was my night. That has been my Sunday, lazy Sunday situation. I have Easter dinner later tonight, so that should be fine. I'll be reporting back on that. Now, this is gonna be an offbeat episode. I didn't mention that, but there really isn't much to really talk about if I'm being honest. Like we were able to get on all the stories I wanted to get to. Really, we're gonna do our startup in a second. We're gonna go through just a couple of beats, and I don't really plan on lingering on them too much, and then close out and we'll get out of here. And hopefully you can get some, dyed eggs or some ham. I don't know. Do what you want. It's your day. It's a lazy Sunday. God, Jesus 2.0, he back, like fuck. Trump's back. It's crazy. What a world. What a time. Also, man, isn't it crazy that eggs are so fucking expensive still? Like that's so insane. I was talking to my friend about like at this point, like if eggs are pushing the price of like a cheap steak or something like that, like in some parameters, I know I'm maybe being a little hyperbolic or whatever, but like I would obviously just choose steak in that situation if that was me. Like I would rather choose a better meat or better protein, right? Like I don't need eggs that bad. But then I think about a day like today, like Easter egg hunts for kids and stuff. Like you got to get those eggs. You got to make that shit happen for the kiddos, right? Like what are you gonna do? I've heard that they were doing some kind of substitutes, but I kind of found out because I don't have children, so I don't have to worry about that. But anyway, let's go ahead, do our startup, hit a couple of beats, and we'll go ahead and close shop. How's that sound? You can enjoy your holiday. Holidays. All right, sorry. All right. First thing I wanted to hit was from the Associated Press. United Healthcare killing suspect Luigi Mangione indicted as prosecutors push for death penalty. Luigi Mangione was indicted Thursday on a federal murder charge in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, a required step as prosecutors work to make good on the Trump administration's order to seek the death penalty for what it called a premeditated, cold-blooded assassination that shocked America. Mangione's indictment, returned by a federal grand jury in Manhattan, includes a charge for murder through the use of a firearm, which carries the possibility of the death penalty. The indictment, which mirrors a criminal complaint brought after Mangione's arrest last December, also charges him with stalking and a gun offense. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Mangione's lawyers have argued that U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi's announcement this month ordering prosecutors to seek the death penalty was a political stunt that corrupted the grand jury process and deprived him of his constitutional right to due process. Which I really do feel like I remember when we initially were talking about this post his arrest and everything. We had like the crazy like Gotham style perp walk and shit that like yeah, they're trying to make as much as they can out of this. But actually, I don't really remember my take at the time. But I didn't think that they were going to do the death penalty, if I'm not mistaken. I thought that because this is fucking New York, like there's just limits to this. You can't really go out of like the realm of reason to make this happen. But I guess with this administration, they're like, no, we will find a way. We will make this fucking happen. We don't care if it's in New York or California, whatever. We're gonna find a fucking way. I guess. I don't know. But they're going above and beyond to make this happen. So we will see. It just definitely felt like a relevant thing, and I didn't really want to miss covering it. So hey, now's the perfect time. But yeah, I mean, there's that. We will definitely be revisiting this as the trial, commences and gets into the details, into the gritty and whatnot. But I'll say that for another day. Anyway, we have, we started. Now we're about to finish. Let's go ahead and do our last break, and then we'll go ahead and talk a quick recall, even though it's a big recall and it's medical. So, there's that. And it's also, it's vague. It's weird, but we'll go ahead and we'll clock in for that, and we'll close out for that. Ooh-wee. I will say an aside. I like that today is a combination holiday, where you're getting Easter, you're getting a bit of the extracurricular, holiday that maybe some celebrate, some don't, but for me, there's I guess a bit of overlap, right? So that's fun. That's nice. I can appreciate that. Um, but yeah, no, I really just enjoy having a good day, and today has been good. So knock on wood, it keeps up. Anyway, that rabbit keeps hopping. Anyway, from health. Nationwide recall hits dozens of common generic drugs. What you need to know. Nearly 40 different kinds of common generic medications are being recalled, according to a report posted by the Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA. The medications, all produced by Glenmark Pharmaceuticals Incorporated, were initially recalled on March 13th. The FDA gave the recall a Class 2 risk level on April 8th. Oh, excuse me. Ooh, excuse-moi. All of the recalled drugs were manufactured at a Glenmark Pharmaceuticals factory in India and were flagged by the FDA as deviating from current good manufacturing practice. That's such a vague reasoning. You're not telling me what was wrong here. But I mean, essentially, we're just supposed to say it's hey, this is just low quality or bad quality, not up to a certain standard. Actually, we can just go ahead and read. Following these regulations includes establishing strong quality management systems, obtaining appropriate quality raw materials, establishing robust operating procedures, detecting and investigating product quality deviations, and maintaining reliable testing laboratories, the FDA said. So that really doesn't get to the heart of it at all, but it's just saying hey, they weren't up to par, and potentially you're at risk for that. So that's why we are issuing this recall. Now, there's a whole bunch of names here, 40, I believe, right? We're not going to go through them, and they're complicated. I don't feel like saying them. Y'all know I can't pronounce shit for fuck. So what we're going to do here is just say, hey, check out health. You can Google generic drug recall. You should be able to see this, pop it up, and see if, maybe something you're taking might be involved if that's the case. You know what I mean? I know I'm not being a great podcaster here. I'm not keeping it pro with you. I'm sorry, my bad. But there's just I'm not running that. I'm not running that down. Anyway, that being said, if you do wind up checking this list and seeing, oh, that's something I take, obviously time to not take that. Take a thing off. Maybe call either your pharmacy or your doctor. Tell them, check in with them, say what's up, and go from there. But yeah, just be mindful, that is something I feel like is pertinent with this recall stuff. I mean, I feel like more times than not, I'm shooting into the aether here. The handful of people who listen to this kind of stuff aren't really gonna, probably be affected by this, that, or the third. But it's worth being mindful that hey, a recall in this market, in this, sector is being, put out there. You know what I mean? I think it is at least a level of relevance. And I figured, hey, no better time than today to talk about it. But yeah, that's it. That's really all I have for today. I really hope that you have a great holiday, whichever you celebrate, however you celebrate them. If this isn't your bag, hopefully you're just having a good day, having a good time right now. And I'm not going to do any shilling. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.